Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Bermuda Triangleface. I'm Tim Morgan and I'm here with Chris.
Yes.
So you may remember Chris's voice from some of our gaming videos, which is probably the first time you've actually seen him.
I think this is the first time I've actually been on camera.
On camera, yeah. So this is Chris's on-camera debut. And I'd like to thank Chris as well for designing the logo for the show. So thank you for doing that.
That's right.
And also a shout out to Mark Lang, Bad Belly, who did the intro music for us as well.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And I should probably shout out to my friend Dale as well, who came up with the name of the show, just so I don't leave him out as well. So thanks for everything. But basically, I've done no work so far. I've just outsourced everything.
Yeah, good job. So this is the Chris show.
So thanks for everyone's help and input so far, and thanks for everyone for submitting questions for the show. But we'll start off with our first section of what are you doing? So Chris, what are you doing at the moment?
Well, recently I've been playing a little known game on the Xbox One called Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Have you played Assassin's Creed before?
I've played all of the Assassin's Creed games up to Black Flag. So I played 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 3.
Right,
yeah. So 1 and then 2 parts 1, 2 and 3 and then 3.
And 3.
I haven't played Black Flag yet. Obviously it's weird that it's on both consoles because it's on Xbox 360 and on Xbox One.
Yeah, it's pretty much on everything because like most of the population have 360s or PS3s already. So they might as well just do an upgraded version for the Xbox One.
Do you know what features are on the Xbox One that aren't on the Xbox 360, or is it just improved graphics, or is it actually like an extended game or anything?
No, it's just really like hyper improved graphics.
I suppose like loading times wouldn't be there either. So the
loading times are much quicker as well.
Yeah.
On previous Assassin's Creed games, the loading screens would be you essentially in an Animus type like complete desolate.
Yeah, I know the bits you mean. Yeah, sometimes you're there for a while, aren't you? Just like walking around, thinking,
you're there
somewhere.
You take like 2 steps, and it's the next scene. So it's pretty much if you like. There's not really been any pirate games so far.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe like a Pirates of the Caribbean game spin-off thing
from the film.
Yeah.
It was Overboard on the PlayStation 1.
Oh really?
Yeah, that was a top-down view, and it was quite fun because when you fired, you would fire like one of the analog buttons, and it'd either be the left or right side of the ship because it was cannons.
Oh, I think I know that. Do you go like? Is it like a top down? And you go and you attack little flags and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to like attack a port, and then your pirate flag.
Because you're in a maze, aren't you?
Yeah, and you have to like collect little bottles, which are like parts of a treasure map.
Okay.
And if you get all the little messages in the bottles, you then fill up the map and you shoot. But you shoot out the side, so it's kind of hard. You're not shooting forward. You kind of have to like when you go to attack someone, you have to like come up around them and then shoot out the like side.
Yeah.
So it's a good little game that.
You get used to that a lot in this game. It's essentially the best pirate simulator game there is.
I think it might be one of the only pirate simulator games.
True, yeah.
Now, I mean, I played the boat missions in 3. Are the missions? Is it kind of an expansion on that in a lot of the main part of the game?
Yeah, you go open world essentially. Not trying not to give too much away. Like the way you did in 3, you kind of like got your ship, didn't you? Like you had to work for it essentially. Yeah. You do a similar thing in this, and then once you get a ship, the whole world unlocks pretty much. So you're doing the main story missions in like capitals or places and towns or islands, and then between them you can either explore the island, collect all the treasures, all the little Animus fragments and treasure chests and stuff, or you just go on the ship and sail around the entire West Indies, and it's really expansive. You see from the world screen, you kind of like you see like your little town, which is like really big in itself, Havana, and you kind of zoom out and you're like, oh, so this is how big it is. And you zoom out and it gets like, oh no, it's massive. Yeah.
Oh, the games have always kind of been quite sandboxy, haven't they? Where it's open space and there's submissions you can do, or you can follow the main quest line.
Yeah.
The only game I didn't really get on with was the 3rd, because in Assassin's Creed 3, I found the side quests less interesting than they were in others. Instead of like having assassination targets and doing things that are affecting like the world of the game, you're just sort of like helping people build a village and hunting animals. And it's just a bit boring after a while. I didn't get behind the character, So who's the name of the character in
The
4?
name of the character is Edward Kenway.
And is he like? Would you say he's a bit more interesting than Connor was in 3?
Oh yeah,
He's a
yeah,
more
because he's
likeable
got
character.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was in the trailer or not, so I don't know if I should if it's a spoiler.
If we're worried about spoilers, we can move on. If you
Well,
want.
he has. Well, it was kind of in the news and stuff before the game
Yeah.
came out, but he's got the same last name as what's the main anti-protagonist in 3?
Oh, Hathan or Heathen?
Hathan.
Oh, Hathan, yeah. I can't remember his
Yeah,
name though.
Hathan
I know the guy.
Kenway.
Yeah,
That's
Hathan
it.
Kenway. Oh,
Essentially,
okay.
you're playing
Yeah,
his.
like granddad or something, isn't he? He's a few
His
generations
dad.
older than them. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I haven't played it and I knew that, so that must have been
Yeah.
released at some point. That you play as
So
that sort of
you're playing as
bloodline.
his dad
Okay,
in this.
cool.
Um,
What would you give the game then out of 10?
Oh gosh, I've played about 45 hours and I've completed about I just been non-stop and I've probably on 97%.
Okay, so
through
you're
the game.
quite far away through the
So
game. then.
yeah, and I've
Finished.
got like travelled to all the locations, got all the chests, all the animus fragments and stuff. So it's literally going back and 100%ing some of the missions,
Yeah.
like where I missed a bonus objective because I didn't have
Yeah.
the screen up. I probably see that it's really really enjoyable, and there's not been one bit so far I've been like, oh, this is really lame. Like trying to push myself forward.
Mm.
I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10.
10.5. Okay, so pretty good. So you recommend?
Yeah, I really recommend it to anyone.
I might have to get hold of it on 360 because I've not got an Xbox One yet.
Okay.
Because I did play all the others, but I think I'd literally just finished spending many hours on 3 when it came out. So it's like I might have a bit of a break from Assassin's Creed and play something else. Because I played the first like 4 games all back to back. So
Okay,
I'd never
yeah.
played it before. And Revelations was coming out. I really liked the trailer. I was like, well, I haven't played any of the other games. So I played 1, finished 1, played 2, then played Brotherhood, and then the day I finished Brotherhood, Revelations came out like the next day. I went out and got it. So they all kind of blurs together for me. I can't really tell which ones
Right,
out of the Extra trilogy where one game stopped and the next game began. There's loads of it say, oh yeah, in Brotherhood. I was like, no, that's in 2. I was like, oh yeah, okay, because I just played them all back to back to back. So that's good.
But they improved a lot since the third Assassin's Creed game, because they had a lot of complaints about it. And
yeah, I think that fans weren't really a big fan of
No.
Connor and stuff in the story.
no,
Just kind of
and they were like, okay, we're just going to ignore this kind of happened.
yeah,
It's
let's
like-
just go with the pirate stuff.
Yeah, the storyline was good with Hathan, like the contrast between the two characters. But yeah, this game is so much better.
Yeah,
It just improves everything really.
cool.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
What have you been doing recently?
Recently, I've been watching a anime series called Sword Art Online.
Okay.
It's viewable on Crunchyroll if you're on Crunchyroll at all. It's basically the basic setup. I mean, from the first episode, I was kind of hooked on it because it's a really good beginning. They've produced technology which allows you to put like a VR helmet, so it's like virtual reality,
Right.
and it's a VR MMO RPG.
Okay.
And basically, it's imagine like your typical RPG type thing, but it's open world. So you go into this world and they're inside a game, and what you do is you can like select attacks and things like that. So you don't have to physically be able to do the things you're doing. If you select the skill, so like a guy was teaching someone how to play, and it shows him like rather than throwing a rock at something, he actually targeted the creature through his skill menu and just threw the rock wherever, and it's going to hit the creature because he's used the skill menu. So it kind of allows you to do these things based on the sword skills in the game, not your actual own abilities in real life. Sort of thing.
Right. So
You're in the game.
does it like pause it whilst you're in the skill menu?
No, it doesn't really show that much in the series after that. But it points out that they can
Okay.
do things in the game because it's a game.
Yeah.
But there's no like magic or anything. It's just sword skills. So they just learn how to do different things with like sword fighting.
Right.
And then they go to log out the game. That's the cool thing as well. They put menus. So it's like go like that, and then a menu will come up, and they can like just select things in the air. And the log out button's missing. And I'm like, oh, we can't log out. Maybe there's some sort of bug. Let's contact the game master. And the game master's offline. What's going on? They all called like the beginners hall, at the beginning of the village. And this massive like guy on a cape comes down, basically saying, I've created this world. You're now in my world, and you can't leave. And he basically says, if anyone like turns off their nerve gear out in the real world, or if they die in the game, it will set off a magnetic pulse which will like kill you. So basically, then they're trapped in the game, and if they die in the game, they die in real life. And so the only way people can get out is if they beat the game. And there's like 100 floors.
Oh, damn.
So that's the premise. So then all of a sudden, it's not a game anymore. It's like real, and they kind of have to like live in this world permanently.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting how everyone reacts. Like the main character was a beta tester, and he knew that he needed to skip the first town and go straight to the next town to get the enemies there to level up. Because like if he sticks in the main town, people are going to be killing all the mods in that area, and then there won't be enough experience to like share out between all the people that were there. But like a certain percentage of people just die straight away because people in the real world are taking off the nerve gear and killing them, and then that all goes over the news.
Oh,
I think they all get moved into like hospitals, sort of like drip feeds in the hospital with like this nerve gear on, keeping them alive. But yeah, the beta testers kind of ditch everyone and go off to level up. So he's like really powerful, but then it's kind of like a status, like the label. People call him like a beta. And if people find out that you're a beta, it's kind of like a. It's not a very, the people don't like the betas because they feel like they've abandoned all the news. So kind of like, you played this game before, you know how to survive in this world, and you just left everyone to like level yourself up.
Yeah.
So they're kind of a bit selfish at the beginning. So like, if people find out they're a beta, they're kind of like, oh, he's a beta. It's kind of like a bad thing. And then also you have like player indicators. And if you do crimes in the world, your indicator goes from green to orange. And then if you like kill another player, it turns red. So then they talk about people as being red players. So if someone's a red player, it means they've actually killed someone. And obviously, in the world of the game, that would be fine. Because you're just like, oh yeah, let's play an evil character in this game. Yeah. And they might go around killing people to steal their items, but they actually might be killing them in real life. So it's kind of like, they're like...
So everyone in the game knows they're like,
yes,
legitimately
they're told. Yeah, they're told, right, this is what's happened, the logout function's been taken away, and you die if you die in the game. And that's like the setup. So, and it's really good. I mean, it's just like, it looks real, like, well, obviously it's an animation, so it's an anime, but it looks the same as the real world in the game world.
Okay, so it's,
but it's kind of, there's fun elements, because you know it's a game, so they kind of toy around with that a little bit. Like there's one bit they have a cooking skill, and like, it does simulate taste, so they can eat things in the game, so they can like taste things.
Okay.
And there's a person in there cooking, and they have a knife, and like they go to chop up vegetables and stuff, and rather than chopping up the vegetables, they touch the vegetables with a knife, and then it just morphs into pre-chopped vegetables, and then it has like, oh, I'm going to dice the chicken, or whatever they have, and they just touch it, and it turns into diced chicken. So it kind of like how you would do it in a game, essentially, wouldn't you? Go through your inventory and stuff. Like the inventory stuff's really cool. They bring up a menu, it's like, oh, scroll down, select, equipped. So like to change your clothes and stuff, they have to go through a menu in front of them, and then it changes the clothes they're wearing and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and then they start talking, as the years go on, I think they're in there for absolutely ages, and you have things like, some people just don't go to the front lines anymore, they just live in the game. You can buy houses, you can live in like, there are safe zones, and they live in safe zones and just live there. I think there's a lot of like younger players that just stayed in the Hall of Beginners and just didn't leave, they like, opened up like an orphanage there, and they stay there. And then as it goes on, less and less players are fighting on what they call the front lines, and they have loads of guilds, and they basically do runs every like day or whatever. They go to the front line, and then just they're fighting the highest level enemies and try and beat the boss, and then go on to the next floor. And then other players are maybe lower down, grinding and leveling up, or just living in the world. And as the game progresses, less people are fighting the front lines because it's more and more dangerous. And it's a case of every day you're in the game, you're losing a day in the real world. So kind of some people really motivate to get out, and other people have just kind of like gotten accustomed to life in the game. And they're just kind of just living in it now, and they're just like, this is... Some people actually don't want to leave, because like, I have like a life here, I've got like... Some of them like have like friends and family, like they actually make real connections in the game, live together, like... So there's a guy who like owns a weapon shop and buys and sells weapons and stuff, and he's just like living in the game. So it's a really interesting premise, and it's like it would kind of be interesting if it was just a game, but the fact they put this element of it of like, it's serious because they could die. And also they kind of come to terms with the fact that there is going to be a time limit, like how long are they going to keep them alive in the real world on life support. And at one point they've been there for like 2 years in a hospital, and it's like, how long is it going to be before they turn the machines off and give up on them, sort of thing. And like, how long can they survive just lying in a bed doing nothing? So
does that get resolved in the series?
I won't spoil that. I'll leave it at that, I think. I would give Sword Art Online... I'd probably give it the same as you give Assassin's Creed, maybe about an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I would say the first series so far has been done about halfway through. I've gone on to the second series. The second series has not been as good as the first, but definitely check out the first series. It's available on Crunchyroll if you have access to that. So that's Sword Art Online.
Oh, how many series are there?
2 seasons and then a film at the moment. I don't know if they're going to do any more.
Okay.
There's 2 series and a film.
That's something I'll definitely have to go and watch.
Yeah, you definitely check it out. I recommend it.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to go on to our first question from you guys. First question we've got here is, what was the first video game you remember playing? So Chris, what was the first game you remember actually playing?
it was on the Sega Genesis, and I'm gonna have to say it was a mix between either Sonic 1 or Road Rash.
Oh, right, I remember Road
Genesis.
Rash. I think Sonic 1 was probably one of the first games that I bought myself, like when I actually was buying my own consoles rather than just like, you know, parents buying them for you sort of thing.
Yeah.
Once I was actually like having enough money to buy my own games rather than just getting them for Christmas and birthday type things. That's probably one of the first games I bought, I think, was Sonic the Hedgehog 1, when we first got our Mega Drive. I never actually had Road Rash, but I did play it a lot.
No. Oh, Road Rash is so good.
Yeah.
When I first got Sega, my uncle would come over with just like a bin bag full of games.
Oh, really?
I was like, well, where did you get these from? So he just like gave me Road Rash, which is like one of the first I remember playing, and that game was so amazing. I'm sure there's like video on YouTube like of Road Rush, and just the music was like down, down.
Yeah, I do remember
down,
like the 8-bit sort of style music in that era was awesome. I mean, you can it's a testament how good those games really were, because even now you can still get games like that, can't you? Like Xbox Live Arcade or PlayStation Network. Or like there's the Mega Drive collection on Xbox, it's like all the Mega Drive games. So it's good that you can still play those games now, and it's fun to play them. It's like getting like the HD update, so it's not as pixelated on our huge TVs we have these days. So for at the time, you're probably only playing on a small TV. You play something like Street Fighter 2 on a like 42 inch, it's kind of like really pixelated. You have to get the HD quality, but
But for nostalgia quality, having those games accessible now is really good.
Yes, I really like that they've done that and made those games available as well.
Yeah,
it's cool.
So what's your first game?
This is going to show you the age gap between us now, I think. So I'm going to go like 2 console games. My family had a BBC Micro, and you actually played games on cassettes. And I can remember when the cassette would get to the end, you would take the cassette out and turn it around and plug it back in again and close the cassette. On cassettes. I think a lot of people had kind of like Amstrads and stuff at the time. In my family, we had a BBC Micro. And there's a few games. One of the games that sticks out to me is a really basic game. It's really fun. It's called Tanks. I think they've done like an updated version since on Xbox Live Arcade. With like loads of other things. But Tanks was literally just a tank there, and then like just a mountain range in between. Player 1 would put in a number first for the angle of their cannon, so you put in the degree you want to go, and then the power of the shot, and then enter, and the tank would just go, and it would like hit a bit of the mountain edge or something. And then player 2 would put in angle of the cannon, enter, power of the shot, enter, and then they would fire, and it just kept going until you hit the tank, and then that was it. So that was the entire game. So literally just a randomised mountain range, and sometimes it would be a case of shoot up really high and then come down, or sometimes you have to kind of blast away some of the mountain range before you could even attempt to hit them. And if you shot over and you just overshot them a little bit, you maybe do the exact same angle and then a slightly lower power, and then shoot across. So if you imagine like the shooting mechanism in Worms, almost, like that, but you're entering in
all the
so it will come up on the screen like enter angle, and you type it in, hit enter. There's like enter power, type it in, enter. But that was one of the first games I remember playing.
Oh dang!
I'm sure there'll be like a few others around that time. I don't know if that was like the first game I ever played, but it's one of the first games I remember vividly playing a lot.
Yeah, that sounds like almost as far back as like Pong or maybe Tetris.
Yeah, it probably wasn't too far away from those games. It might have been sort of one of the early games when they were first sort of toying around with game mechanics and stuff.
Yeah. So. I mean, there's a lot of like flash games and stuff on the internet where you're essentially firing a bow to try and hit a target, and you've got to like line up.
I know the ones you mean. Yeah. So people now can just make a game like that in an afternoon. I think sat on like a game making program. So it's good that we've sort of come a long way in games and stuff now. Comparing Tanks to Assassin's Creed 4, and that's all happened like in our lifetime. So it's amazing how much it's changed. Next question. In the next section, we have what would you do if? So it's scenarios of what would you do if something happened. And the first one we've got here is what would you do if life was like a Final Fantasy game?
Oh, dang.
So this goes very similar to Sword Art Online, I guess. Like they're living in a game world, but what would you do if it was like a Final Fantasy game?
Oh gosh, we've just finished Final Fantasy 7.
Yes, Nav. So
like in my head,
you can check out our Final Fantasy 7 playthrough on my other channel on TF Level Up.
Great plug.
Yes, plug on our channel, so you can check those out.
Oh gosh, like Final Fantasy in general, or
I guess it just says Final Fantasy in general. So I guess there'd be a guy called Sid and chocobos and airships and like random encounters. I guess it depends. Like
I suppose we wouldn't be Cloud
No, you'd be yourself.
Yeah,
but like, life would be like a Final Fantasy game. I
Yeah.
suppose like in Final Fantasy, you don't actually respawn. You just reload if you die. So I suppose you could die. If you know what I mean. It's not like if you die, you respawn. If you die, it's game over, isn't it, in Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
So I suppose that would mean that if you died, you actually died.
Yeah.
So
I'd
you
go
would
on
be
that.
completely reckless.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like. I wouldn't say it's. Oh, I'm just going to load up my save game.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
You just have to live like. I think that I would want to grind and level up a hell of a lot before I went anywhere, because in the game you kind of like level up to a point to make it easier when you carry on. But if it was real, then you'd be like, I want to be at the most highest level I can get before I go anywhere dangerous to avoid dying.
Yeah.
And you'd want to have a big party, and you'd want to have like loads of magic and stuff. I suppose your priorities in life would just change. Could you be like, oh, I really want to get a certain type of magic, or I really want to be able to do a meteor or something, and things like that. So you would just have to like, yeah, you'd just be doing that.
I don't know. I'd probably do a similar thing. I'd just imagine I was playing WoW, but in real life.
You get money in items from killing monsters, so you could just be a monster hunter for a living.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to work or anything, would you? You could just go out and get money from killing monsters, or you would get items from them and sell them, and then you would just go and live off that.
I'd probably do. Yeah, I'd probably do that for a bit. Maybe not go too high, so I'd have a risk of dying. But I wouldn't also want to like grind out boars and rabbits for like eternity.
I don't think if it was real life, you'd just be doing it, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be like you were sat playing a game. You'd actually be off doing it.
Yeah.
So I suppose that would make it a bit different. But I'm trying to think of the different careers you would have in that world. What
Well,
you do?
I've always
You'd
wanted to be
chocobo
like a
jockey or something. Giant.
Yeah, Chocobo Billy.
Yeah, like Chocobo Billy. The floating monstrosity that was Chocobo Billy. I don't think that was the Chocobo Sage.
That was the Chocobo Sage.
Floating monstrosity. Doesn't remember his name.
Like he was the one who essentially made the game, but he doesn't remember it. So, I'd maybe be a bounty hunter, possibly.
You say you don't want to do anything dangerous, and you're going to be a bounty hunter.
Well,
you're going to attack someone who's like level 90, and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to die now.
Well, I'd consider it. I'm not saying I would actually do it, but I'd also want to kind of like be an adventurer, but also you have like a side job of being a weaponsmith.
Okay, you could do like
So I'd just be like selling weapons and stuff like that to like. I'd essentially go out, kill loads of things, and then come back to like Noob Town, and then sell off all my crap to people who are like, oh yeah, level 1 dagger, like yeah, 500 gold.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us on the first episode of the Bermuda Triangleface.
Thanks, guys.
Please submit some comments in the comment section with more questions and what would you do if questions. And we'll see you next time.
Before we go, some of the questions were submitted by people on Facebook.
Yes.
So the Final Fantasy game question was submitted by Reese.
Yes. So thanks, Reese, for that question.
Thanks, Reese.
And you can continue to submit questions on Facebook if you like, or Twitter, or YouTube, or email. So get them to me however you want. Basically.
There'll be some links.
We'll put some links down. Just leave a comment on the video. Probably be the quickest way. And might feature your question in the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.